me and HBCU, stand up. HBCU, Beverly Hills. HBCU, Beverly Hills. HBCU, HBCU, Beverly Hills. Welcome back, family. It's your boy, it's your uncle, your cousin, and your best friend. I am A. Harris Brown, and you already know what time it is. You are locked into the HBCU Man Cave, where we uplift, educate, and celebrate the legacy of excellence of historically Black colleges and universities. It's a safe space. We're here to have a great time. Now, tonight, we are diving into a great topic, the impact of HBCUs on Black history. From courageous sit-ins of the Greensboro Four to the resilience of students at South Carolina State during the Orangeburg Massacre. Now, HBCUs have long been the epicenter of Black progress and resistance. And let's be clear, the impact is still felt today. Now, first of all, understand, we don't have to ask for permission to celebrate Black History Month. It's what we do. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And listen, we got an amazing show for you lined up. And of course, I'm not doing this alone. I got my co-host and my brothers here. I got Kevin Keys III and Shean Cain.
Happy Black History
Month. What's going on, brothers? How y'all doing?
What's up? What's up?
I know, right? It's another beautiful day in the neighborhood. Listen, we done been to hell and back this past week. Trust and believe, y'all. Y'all have no idea. The country, listen, it was only January. It was the first 31 days. It's like, what the hell is going on?
What's going on,
man?
Our country.
Man.
Listen, I ain't gonna go there. Nonetheless, listen, we got a great month to celebrate. But before we do all that, hey Shean.
Yes, sir. You know, I got some Coke and I got me some Jack Daniels today. Because guess what? You know, Jack was originally made or brewed by a Black person.
Really?
That's facts.
Yes, sir. Yes,
really?
Sir. Yes, sir.
I never knew.
Because, you know, he was a slave, so he didn't have enough money to patent it. So the white man who had the money patented it. But I forgot his name. I should have looked at I had the name. I forgot the name.
Is it not Uncle Nearest?
Something like that. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let you have a moment and go look that up. Okay, that's a little Black fact.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, somebody said in the comment, it is Uncle Nearest. I was right.
Yep.
Okay, come on for our comments. Shout out to everybody watching us right now online, whether you're watching us on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Thank you so very much. Now listen, Kevin, how you feeling this week?
I'm feeling great, man. I cannot complain. Life been good. Life no stressing. I mean, teaching and just living life, man. Can't complain.
So, listen, here's a question for you, teacher. Do you have your door or your classroom ready with all the Black history things for tomorrow?
Do I? Come on. First of all, my room 24/7 is Black History Month everywhere. It's like I got posters that say Happy Black History Month. My kids like, but it's not Black History. Every month is Black History Month when you step foot in this class.
Okay.
So yeah,
okay.
My whole room is already set up. My door, historically Black students are actually gonna get exclusive on that. Like the door is gonna be top tier. I'm trying to figure out how I'm about to merge Sigma, Texas Southern, and Miles all into one door because it's a door decorating competition, and I want to make sure that we are represented. You know.
Shout out! I know I challenged a couple schools here in Cleveland, Ohio, and I encouraged them because we have parent-teacher conference coming up earlier part of this month. I said, how many of you all can actually have your doors done by parent-teacher conference to engage families in the process? To have like you having a door decoration contest, let the parents also be judges, but they can't be it if you don't have the door ready by conferences. So something to think about. So listen, fellas, we have a wonderful guest with us today. He is no stranger to us. Let me tell you all about our guest today. Some of you all, you may have seen him before. You may be following him on social media. He's our good friend of ours from an alum of Jackson State University. We have Coach Derrick Wilmore. Let me tell you about Coach Wilmore. Now, he's a proud alum of Jackson State University, where he earned his degree in history. His deep passion for rich legacy of HBCUs has led him to dedicate his career to preserving and promoting their history. Now, currently, Coach Wilmore is working on a comprehensive book detailing the history of a lot of things, especially his love of Jackson State University, aiming to shed light on its significant contributions to Black education and culture. Now, in addition to his scholarly pursuits, Coach Wilmore has made significant contributions to collegiate athletics that he's once served as the coach at several institutions, including Denmark Technical College and Clinton College, where he contributed to developing student athletes. I love the fact he says student athletes, both on and off the field, demonstrating his commitment to student development, both on and off the field. Listen, if you see him on social media, he's going to drop some knowledge. He's going to drop that history. He's going to let you know about these facts. Y'all, show some love in the chat. Everyone make some noise for Coach Wilmore.
That was a crazy introduction, man. That was beautiful. Look, I was just editing some video because I had recorded my students the other day. We did a video one-on-one where we was talking about, so they just introduced their names and what they wanted to do when they graduated college. And one of the young ladies was like, man, my name is blank and I want to be a Princeton J-Set. And if you don't know, Princeton J-Sets are the majorettes at Jackson State. And so I didn't even notice it when she said it. But I'm gonna have a conversation with her tomorrow about what she's gonna have to do to get on to become a Princeton J-Set, because that's a lot of work. I also had an old student that actually became a Princeton J-Set. I don't know if she's still on the team or not, but I'm gonna have to check on that. But yeah, man, thank you for the introduction. I'm ready to hop in on this history and spit some real knowledge.
Listen, I just want to say we are excited to have you to join us again and share your knowledge and experiences in enriching our understanding of the profound impact that HBCUs have had on Black history. Now, listen, let's go back. We want to talk about some of the roots of our HBCU activism, because for some of you all, if you did not know, now if you're an HBCU alum, you know this, but you cannot even talk about Black history and the legacy in the history without talking about the legacy and the history of HBCUs. I think they're synonymous, right? Mm-hmm. They go hand in hand because we were right there in the midst of it all. We were the incubators of Black leadership. And certainly you all know that, just the whole civil rights movement and beyond, we were right there, right in the midst of it. And our students, our scholars were right there, laying the foundation for all of that. Now, before we go any further, I don't know if anybody want to add something, add value to some other talking points to those moments, or Coach, I don't know if you want to add value to some of what I just said.
Hey, I'm just ready to get into these topics.
Come on!
I got so many stories to tell, man, so much history to drop, man. I'm just ready to get into these topics.
Right. So listen, that's cool. That's great. So now listen, we can't talk about Black history without acknowledging the immense contributions of HBCU students. Now let's take a moment to spotlight some of the pivotal moments that forever changed this nation. First one we want to talk about is the Greensboro Four, 1960, February 1st, 1960. So we're talking about 65 years ago as of yesterday. Where four freshmen from North Carolina, A&T State University, initiated a sit-in at a segregated Woolworth. Now, I don't know if you all know about Woolworths. Anybody ever been to a Woolworths on this screen? Anybody ever been to a Woolworth that's watching us in the show besides Vernon and myself? I know Vernon's watching. So besides Vernon and myself, anybody else been to a Woolworth? So again, at this Woolworth in Greensboro, North Carolina, their peaceful protest sparked a nationwide movement leading to desegregation and business across the country. Coach, let's go there. What you got?
Man, I seen a tweet the other day that a young lady was talking about Bennett College and how the young ladies had also participated in those sit-ins. But I also had thought about Cecil Williams. And so this is going to might take y'all for a spin real quick, but I'm pretty sure y'all familiar with that picture that's been going around about the black man drinking out of a whites only water fountain.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's Cecil Williams, a renowned photographer, and I had the pleasure of meeting him a few years ago, man. And it was at the Orangeburg Library. It was a panel discussion about Orangeburg School District desegregating. And so Cecil Williams, he's taking pictures, and I meet him, and I'm just thinking about this story he talks about with how they were sitting there. A lot of people think that the Greensboro Four participated in the first sit-ins, but Cecil Williams has a different memory, and he talks about 4 or 5 years before the Greensboro Four, it was students at South Carolina State and Claflin, down in Orangeburg. And so the story goes that during this time period, there was a petition going around of different black folks in Orangeburg signing so that they could desegregate the schools. And so basically what happens is there's all these companies, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Sunbeam Bread Company, SO Gas, all these different companies, 23 companies in total, that were firing black folk who worked with those companies who signed the petition. People were getting kicked off mortgages, couldn't get any loan. Like it was terrible. As he says, all hell broke loose. Mm-hmm. And so people began to protest these 23 companies, which included the students from Claflin and South Carolina State 4 or 5 years before the Greensboro Four. He also talks about during that same time, Thurgood Marshall coming down to Orangeburg to light some fire up under people, and that also helped push the petition. But I'm gonna end that story there. Greensboro Four, because I'll end up going around in circles and circles, talk all day.
Yeah, come on, let's go back to Greensboro.
Yeah, let's go back to Greensboro, man. So that's 1960, 65 years from today. And so with those sit-ins, I know it was like a domino effect, man. So you have Greensboro Four, Bennett girls also contributing to the cause, and Shaw University, and all these other HBCUs who are coming together to do these sit-ins. And man, it was a national effect. And so what we see is this event essentially going viral and it having that viral effect. And this had caused some major change in a number of different ways. I mean, be quiet and let somebody else jump in, because I talk about this stuff all day.
Listen, so we do want to acknowledge those 4 young men who were part of this, who were the orchestrators of this peaceful protest. First of all, Ezel Blair Jr., David Richmond, Franklin McCain, and Joseph McNeil. Now, again, if you've ever had a chance to visit the city of Greensboro, North Carolina, and happen to go onto the campus of North Carolina A&T State University, you will have a chance to be able to see a statue erected in their honor to talk about this particular movement. Here's another interesting fact. This particular Woolworths is now a historic landmark in the community, and to the point where, Kevin or Shane, if you ever decide that you want to go and visit Greensboro. First of all, you can't go to Greensboro and not talk about the Greensboro Four.
Exactly.
And visit A&T. But while you're there, you need to go check out the Woolworths. Now, recently, they were in the news for this acknowledgement of this historic landmark. Let's take a look at it.
The Woolworths building in downtown Greensboro is now recognized as a National Historic Landmark. WFMY News 2's Joseph Leonard joins us live now with the significance of this designation.
The F.W. Woolworth building is finally getting the recognition it deserves. On Monday, the National Park Service named it a National Historic Landmark. The International Civil Rights Center and Museum says that now allows them to apply for federal grants to preserve this building. But beyond that, they say it signifies a long battled history, a persistence to preserve such a historic building in the heart of downtown Greensboro. After years of campaigning and hundreds upon hundreds of paperwork, it's finally official.
It's a great pleasure to be able to have such an inscription on the property. I can't wait until we get the plaque here and be able to install it on the property.
But what makes this building so special is what's inside. It's the site where 4 black NC A&T students, known as the Greensboro Four, staged the 1960 sit-in. They sat at a lunch counter where they weren't allowed, spearheading what became a national movement during the civil rights era.
You go to any country I've ever been in and worked in, like Germany or in the Middle East or in Eastern Europe, and you say where you come from and you say, I work in Greensboro, North Carolina, people will say, oh, is that where the sit-ins took place? I've heard about the Woolworths. So this building puts this city and this community on the map.
Exactly. On the map. All right. So anything else, Coach, on Greensboro 4 you want to talk about, or you ready to move on to the next one?
I'm ready to move on to the next.
All right, well, okay, cool. So the next one we want to talk about, and fellas, y'all, listen, I know we in class, but y'all can say something. Y'all, come on.
Y'all know I love history, so I can listen to him talk all day.
I was waiting for the opportunity.
What you got, Shane?
I was waiting for the opportunity to be granted, because we did. I actually visited that Woolworth. I did back in 2012. It was 11, 12. When I was a sophomore at Virginia University of Lynchburg, and we had played North Carolina down in North Carolina, and I had the opportunity to take a friend of mine, and we went down there because I'm a history drunkie. I love history, and I was just amazed to see how upkept it was. And from a person who never, I wasn't born in this country, and I kind of just got immersed in the history of what my ancestors, my people, my black people went through here, right? And it was just a movement for me. And to talk about the Greensboro Four and the domino effect, all I can think about what happened right after, which is, the immediate expansion of a number of sit-ins after, birth of student, the SNCC, I forgot, the Student Novelet Coordinating Committee, what they've done over the years, 1961. We're talking about economic pressure that led to desegregation. We're talking about strategy expansion beyond lunch counters and the influence on the later civil rights movement. I mean, all of that, just the domino effect that have us to be in the position that we're in right now. And we're still fighting as of today. So we know what fight is. We know what fight is, and we're going to continue doing it,
This is so true. Still fighting as of today. Matter of fact, shout out to Vernon. Talking about, I know all about Woolworths. I knew he would. I knew he would. Imagine, Vernon is older than me. He actually got a scholarship from Vernon. From Woolworths. Vernon, holler at your boy. But don't yell. All right. Let's talk about a little bit. I'm going to set you up. The Tallahassee boy bus cot. In 1956, inspired by the Montgomery boycott. Ooh, tongue twister for me there. Florida A&M University students organized a boycott against segregated buses. Despite arrest and intimidation, the students' efforts led a legal ruling that ended segregation on city buses in Tallahassee. All right, Coach, what you got for us for the Tallahassee bus boycotts?
Man, you gave a brief explanation. I'm thinking about how the young ladies, after they were arrested before this protest like really kicked off, there was a cross burned in front of their residence, KKK, and it reminded me of Mary McLeod Bethune when she. There you go.
Come on, talk about it. Come on, talk about it.
Man, now I read one time this ain't got nothing to do with what we talking about, but sold sweet potato pies to raise money.
Come on down to Daytona Beach. I know we in Tallahassee. We don't go down
sweet potato pies to raise money for the school. But anyway, she got word that the KKK was gonna come through one night, and so she rounded up all the young ladies, told the faculty and staff get them to bed, make sure they tucked in real nice, and so she ended up standing in the middle of the campus just waiting for them to come through. And as they rode past, she just stood there like a major factor, and it kind of reminded me of the two. And so just putting the two together, like just how resilient, man, these kids were. Like when you think about it, you're talking about 18, 19, 20-year-olds looking death right in the eyes. Mm-hmm. And just how resilient they were. And that's the power of HBCU unity, that a lot of people who are, I don't want to say outside, but haven't like really experienced the HBCU life really might not understand. Like I don't know, I can't speak for everybody, but I know like when I was attending the HBCU, I understood that there was so much power just on my campus and the unity behind so many people with the same mission and understanding the realities that we have and had to face. And so just thinking about the resilience of those kids, man, and how they literally came together to make a difference. But I want to jump with Montgomery real quick. Can I do that?
Hold on. I just wanted to go back and say, I want to shout out to people who are watching us online. You know, Michael Smith from Tuskegee University. What's going on, brother? You like TU? Okay, you know. Thank you for saying this is a great conversation, brother. We appreciate it so very much. And Vernon did say that I am older than him. My bad. My bad. I am older than Vernon, but hey, but it doesn't matter. But shout out to everybody. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share Historically Black Sense wherever you are watching us from, right now. Please make sure you're letting somebody else know about this conversation, all this great history that we are connecting and talking about how our HBCUs have made a significant impact to Black history. Now you say you want to jump over to Montgomery.
Yeah, man, I got it.
Let's go over to Montgomery. Come on.
Before we jump over to Montgomery, I just want to point it out that it was 4 women, 4 Black women. You know what I'm saying? Because our Black women are often looked down on in the workplace, in the military and wherever they at. And it took 4 Black women to sit and said, we are not moving. I think for me, that speaks volume for our Black women, to be honest.
Oh, definitely. Most definitely. Come on. Listen, basically, I mean, and all these students, basically, they just like the tree planted by the rivers. I shall not.
Come on.
Be moved.
Come on.
That's what they said. Now I'm gonna tell you that right now. That's what they basically said. That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
word. Now we in Bible country now. It's somewhere in the Bible.
Oh yeah. So I gotta
It's
get
in the Bible. It's in there.
Oh yeah, it's in there.
Come on. Come on. Where, let's go. Come on. Where you want to go?
Oh man, I got to talk about Montgomery real quick. So dang, I lost track. Back to South Carolina, man. Okay, so I'm gonna connect the dots, I promise. So I was talking about Cecil Williams earlier and how students at Claflin and South Carolina State were protesting prior to Brown versus Boyd in Greensboro for MLK's right-hand man. What's his name? Starts with an R.
Ralph
Abernathy. Ralph Abernathy, before Montgomery like really gets down, he calls Orangeburg and asks for the blueprint. And so what happens is, so he calls Orangeburg, asks for the blueprint. Rosa is arrested, and there's going back to my boy talking about black women. There's a young lady, Joanne Gibson Robinson. Joanne Gibson Robinson ends up being the real organizer and orchestrator for the boycott, the Montgomery bus boycott. So she was a professor at Alabama State. And so what she does, she takes 2 students and I'm pretty sure another professor. They go to Alabama State and they print off over 30,000 copies of flyers. And so they've been planning this. She has an interview online, which talks about the Montgomery bus boycott, but she talks about how she had been planning this thing for 3 years and it finally happens. And so she got the flyers ready. She goes to campus, prints off 30,000 copies, and they begin to distribute. But a lot of people don't know that Joanne Gibson Robinson was the real orchestrator behind the movement instead of MLK. Basically, what we see is because she worked for a state school, she really didn't want to be out in the scene like that. She didn't want Alabama State to be affected economically. And so she kind of stood back, and she also understood that MLK was charismatic, that he was that type of guy to, be out in the front lines and be the face, I guess. And so it kind of worked out where she was able to just do work behind the scenes. But it just had me thinking about Montgomery, man, and how like we our communities play off of one another. Like we already have the blueprint. People asking today, like what do we do? Like how do we combat the issues that we face today? I'm like, the ancestors, they already laid down the blueprint. It's already been done multiple times. And so just referring back to them and relaying it to today and how we can use history to change our reality that we're facing in this very moment.
Want to go to another one when we talk about our students and HBCUs and the impact on, and the influence of our Black history, especially during the Civil Rights Movement. Want to go to 1961, the Tougaloo Nine, where a group of students from Tougaloo College in Mississippi conducted a read-in at a whites-only Jackson Public Library. Now, they were arrested, but their protests shed light on the racial barriers in education and public resources. Now, for those who may not have ever heard about this, we got a quick video that we do want to share with you so you can learn a little bit more about the Tougaloo Nine.
March 27th, 1961, a young man named Joseph Jackson Jr. walked into the local library, the Jackson Municipal Library in Jackson, Mississippi, and he asked to check out a book. He was there with 8 friends from the local college, from Tougaloo College. They walked into that library. You can see Mr. Jackson there all the way on the left in the glasses. He went up to the circulation desk. He asked to check out a philosophy book that he needed for class at college. And Joseph Jackson Jr. was told no. He was told he could not check out that book. The woman working at the library told him to use the city's other library down the street, because the Jackson Municipal Library was the white library for white people only. And if Joseph Jackson and his friends wanted to check out a book, they should try the library for black people. The librarian told him, quote, "There's a colored library on Mill Street. You would be welcome there." But Joseph Jackson Jr. and those other 8 students from the college, they did not leave. They stayed in that whites-only library. They held a read-in. They sat silently reading, refusing to go anywhere unless Joseph Jackson was allowed to check out that philosophy book that he had come for. Eventually, the staff, the all-white staff of that all-white library, they called the police. The police came into the library. They walked the students out the front door. They put them into squad cars, and they drove them to jail.
Yeah. Woo. Yeah. Talking about this, you got to go to the college.
Listen,
Man.
The college.
30 days in jail.
All they want to do is read. They just want to read.
That's all they wanted to do.
It's mind bothering. Linking history, right? So as you guys know, I'm from the islands, right? And linking history, just linking it, and it has the same effect. It has the same, and for me who loves history, and just looking at this, because when I first read it, and I said, wow, and all they wanted to do is just read, which creates education as a path for freedom, right? Libraries as a battleground for equality. Libraries, somewhere we want to go learn, which education fuels activism. It does, and it's crazy just to watch these videos. It sends trillion.
I done got mad. Oh, we did.
Yeah. It sends like electricity all over my body just seeing that, and I'm getting angry. You know what? Let me drink on my thing I got here because
listen. I love a comment on Instagram. I am Black Butterfly said exactly. I'm not shocked. But now here's the thing. What do we? This is a personal question now. Just getting your thoughts real quick from anybody. Yeah. What do we need to do today, to try to get our young people to go to the library now to read? Because that's a challenge. I'm being honest with you. Listen, I went to a library just the other day, in a predominantly African American community. They were in there to play the game. They didn't want to. They wasn't nobody picking up a book.
Mm-hmm.
You have to factor technology into this.
Mm-hmm.
You have to factor technology, because me growing up, I'm in the islands in Jamaica. I'm in the library every Friday evening, every Saturday, half of the day I'm in the library. My dad would not play that game. You're gonna learn, you're gonna read, you're gonna be better than I am.
Okay.
And I'm gonna receive this doctorate in a couple of months. That's where it's gonna sit in his house.
And Kelly, what about you? I'm just wondering, how do you encourage to get your students involved in reading?
Reading and going to a library is 2 different things.
Okay, well, let's rephrase it. Kevin, what do you do to help support and get your students to go to the library to read? Let me qualify that question.
Because the thing about it is, I really am more of an advocate to push for the digitalization of our history and our archives and the things that we have that's in these books, because the thing about it is the harsh reality is they are not going. So we have to learn how to bring it to them so we can still get okay, yes, we know it's a problem, because now that we know it's a problem, let's create the solution. And the solution is actually bringing it to them and actually having it on these apps and having these books being ebooks and things of that nature, because otherwise these kids are not going to the library. I mean, transportation is an issue. The lack of resources. Most inner city libraries actually close. I know, for example, in Detroit, a lot of they libraries close, and it's like only like 7-8 of them that's still open across the city of Detroit, and the city of Detroit is huge. So it's like, regardless, the funding is a reason why we don't have libraries no more. There's a whole lot of different reasons. So I would say that I would recommend that we just push it to them digitally.
Okay, but I do want to shout out Monique Robinson, who just made a comment, because she said she was looking. She put the eyeballs up, but she looking. And someone made a comment on the Instagram like about have an art exhibit or some sort. Shout out to Monique Robinson in San Antonio, Texas, who had a Black History program just a couple days ago at a library. But what she did was they had a very unique opportunity to engage the scholars to do some research. So they had to do the research. They did technology. But they also had the books at the same time. They had to do some presentations and to be able to show what they had learned. So they were able to use both the digital platforms coupled with the resources and materials in the library, then to make the presentations. So it became an oral presentation. They had to actually do some visualization. They had to do some display boards, a table presentation, and I could do some public speaking. So you were able to hit both the research and development and also do the oral speaking to kind of help address all of the English and language arts strategies for that community. Had to just shower some love real quick. All right, Coach.
Wait. I just looked in the comment and it was definitely a good point I want to share. It says, tell the story first, then have them research and find the connection. I will say a quick story, and I know it's not necessarily Black history, but it is Black history at the same time, is we're doing the American Revolution right now. And when we're talking about it, one of my favorite stage plays to this day is Hamilton. I love Hamilton. And it really helps me share the fact that there is no good guys or bad guys in history. It's everybody has a reason on why they did it, and you just have to sit there and see which perspective do you agree with and which perspective you don't. Because of the simple fact, I say that because you have people like Hamilton who you see the teacher in me, got the plate on the background, but I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so you see, I lost my train of thought.
Okay.
More story. Oh, no, Hamilton. I have them watching Hamilton. They didn't understand nothing about the American Revolution. Soon as I actually had them watching Hamilton and actually experiencing what it was about, they was like, oh, we want to do research. And they actually was more interested in doing research. So yeah, tell the story first and then have them do research. That's what I was going to
Awesome. Okay, I love that. I love the fact. Here's something else from Monique. I wanted to put this out there. She says, well, some libraries offer online resources as well as mobile libraries. And like she said, we had an African American history fair, and they had an on-site scavenger hunt. And again, thanks for the shout out. All right, Coach, let's come back. Let's take a deep dive again. Orangeburg Massacre.
Orangeburg, man.
I'm gonna loose you and let you free. Let me let you go on that one real quick before I give some stats. Or you want me to give the history first? You want me to give the overview and then you go into it?
Go ahead and get an overview.
Orangeburg Massacre and 1968. And I'm going to couple this also because there was something very similar at Southern University with some protests in 1970. I'm going to merge the two. During a peaceful protest against segregation at a bowling alley near South Carolina State University, police opened fire on students, killing 3 and injuring 28. Similarly, in 1972, protests at Southern University led a police violence that claimed the lives of students Denver Smith and Leonard Brown. Now, these tragedies both demonstrated the extreme cost of activism, but fueled further movements for justice. Just out, having a good time. out just having a good time at the bowling alley, or just hanging out, just having a good time in Southern University, and here come the police out of nowhere. This is what's that show. Make it make sense. Come on, Coach, what you got?
Man, I first want to shout out South Carolina State and Dr. Rashad Anderson. Man, that was South Carolina State was the first collegiate lecture that I ever did, and I want to shout Dr. Anderson out, who was also a brother of Alpha Phi Alpha. Just want to throw that out there.
Yes.
But man, I watched the trends. Kind of like history is all about patterns. And so we always see or hear about young Black men getting lynched for allegedly whistling at white women. And there's always this excuse. Sometimes it really does happen, but specifically with HBCU protests, there's always this excuse that either they seen a gun or something was thrown at a police officer. Something was actually thrown at the South Carolina State protest, but that's what happened actually at the Orangeburg Massacre and Southern University. And so a banister at the Orangeburg Massacre, and then the tear gas can at Southern, both was thrown, and next thing you know, officers start dumping. And so specifically in Orangeburg, Orangeburg or Southern, nobody is convicted of those murders. With Orangeburg, Cleveland Sellers, I'm pretty sure there's a few people on here that know about Cleveland Sellers. He sat down for 9 months, and then he went back to get his degrees. He ended up becoming the president of Voorhees, which also had some similar protests down there, Voorhees in Denmark, South Carolina. Shout out to Voorhees. But Southern University, crazy history, man. There was this idea that the students were taking over the administration building and that they had kidnapped the president, President Netterville. Tell Them We Are Rising, the documentary, the HBCU documentary talks about this very in depth. And so that's kind of what prompted all those law enforcement to come to campus, and that's, it was a domino effect from there. But it's very unfortunate that people had, bloodshed occurred. And this happens way too often in these peaceful protests. But we also understand who we're dealing with. We're not dealing with humane people when it comes to these protests. And unfortunately, we have to be prepared for anything.
So let's take a moment and watch a quick little clip about and learn more about the Orangeburg Massacre.
It began in February 1968 when students from then South Carolina State College and Claflin College joined together in protest in an effort to lawfully integrate the All-Star Bowling Alley after the owner, Harry Floyd, refused to accept Black patrons.
This was taken several days before the Orangeburg Massacre occurred. These are students marching past the area where the bowling alley is located.
Photojournalist and Orangeburg native Cecil Williams was there, outside the bowling alley, when the demonstrations turned chaotic.
By the 6th of February, where there was a confrontation at the bowling alley, I parked my car, went to the area where 150 students, along with city police, other law enforcement, were on the scene. And the students really were asking to be admitted to the bowling alley. And of course, the management did not want to admit them. Because there were so many people compacted in this small space near the bowling alley, someone accidentally broke one of the windows, and we all started running.
A dusk to dawn curfew cleared the streets of Orangeburg of normal traffic. The Negro College, where the trouble has occurred, also closed, with classes suspended indefinitely.
By Thursday, February 8th, the racial tension in Orangeburg had peaked, authorities and college administration enforcing the students to remain on campus.
Shortly after dark, the troops came out in force. They surrounded the college area, blocked the streets, and brought in armored personnel carriers for additional support. About 600 South Carolina National Guardsmen and 400 state troopers were involved in the security operation.
Most of us were up on the administration building a little further down, and the young men said that all the young ladies need to go back into the dormitory, and we did. Then the shooting started.
And I looked down, I could see the police down at the bottom of the hill down there.
How many gunshots do you think you heard?
I couldn't tell you because they kept firing. They just went bam, 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 bam.
9 officers opened fire around 10:30 that night, allegedly provoked by a projectile. According to an FBI investigation, some officers later admitting they fired without warning. The
That's all I can say. All right, fellas, anything? Anybody?
I'm deeply disturbed, man. It is when it comes to February, I've always get this feeling in my stomach. What have we done to aggravate these, individuals? You know what I'm saying? Like, peacefully, we sit in peacefully, we protest peacefully, we do this, we do that. What else can we do? Because you come up with all these rights and all these movements and all these stuff, and then we're still being treated the way that we've been treated. And sometimes, as a dad, I'm trying to put into my kid's head this, be careful, do this, because as awful as you see how that is going, we're still living in that time. We see George Floyd, we see all these other black individuals get gunned down, get killed right in front of video cameras, and nothing is really being done. Where do we go from here?
Well, that's a good question. Thank you. Come on, Shane.
Where do we go from here?
Listen, I love that, Shane. So listen, we have looked at our history. Now, thank you, Shane, for saying let's talk about today. Because one thing that we know for sure, HBCUs are still shaping movements. We're still molding leaders, and we're still pushing for equality and justice. So, Coach Wilmore, got a question for you, brother. Did your time at Jackson State prepare you for leadership today?
That's a great question. Full transparency, man. I had walked into a NAACP meeting one day at Jackson State, and it pissed me off. I ain't gonna lie to you. Come
on, tell the story.
I'm gonna tell you why. And me being the rebel that I am, it was not that they weren't doing work. I'm sure it was a great organization on campus. Not that they weren't doing work, but it wasn't as aggressive enough for me. And so that was my first and last time attending the NAACP meeting on campus. And other than that, man, I took 2 classes that kind of really influenced me. And I'm gonna just keep it real. When I got to Jackson State, I was a non-traditional student. So I was about 20. I was like 22, 23 when I got to Jackson State. But I had took Dr. Lackey class. I'm pretty sure if anybody online went to Jackson State, y'all know who Dr. Lackey is. And then Professor Bounds, shout out to Professor Bounds. He's actually, when I was down there in Jackson, one of the archivists at Tougaloo. And both of these guys, man, they had some crazy history classes. Dr. Lackey, he taught, I'm pretty sure it was American history. And Professor Bounds was Mississippi history. And in Professor Bounds' class, we had to bring news articles every Tuesday to class to present. And so Professor Bounds' class, it forced me to get out of my shell to be a better speaker. I've had been shy majority of my life, and when I had to get in front of a class and present news articles, it allowed me to get out of my shell and grow in that area. And so we all know how being uncomfortable puts you in places to grow. And so that class definitely grew me to be more outspoken and to be more of a leader. And just the knowledge that I learned in Dr. Lackey's class, and how enthusiastic he was as a professor, both of those classes allowed me to transform my teaching, to allow the information that I received to transform it and translate it in ways that other people could really understand.
Okay.
So that was my experience.
Awesome sauce. And that, okay, cool. Now got a question for Kevin or Shane. Here we go. Let me ask you all a question. Because Kevin, I love the fact you've been absorbing all of this. And I love it. So Kevin, for you, I got a question for you. What is a key lesson from your HBCU experience, undergrad or grad, that still resonates with you today?
Never shut up. Never shut up.
Oh, come on, let's talk about it. Let's unpack that. Come on, let's unpack that. Oh.
I've been real quiet about who I got my education from. When we talk about the first Black mayor of Birmingham, Alabama, we talk about Richard Arrington Jr., and that was one of my teachers who taught me African-American experience. When we talk about someone who sat in the jails with Dr. Martin Luther King as he wrote his letters from Birmingham jail, we talk about Dr. Allen Tharp, a white man who sat in the jails with him, fought right alongside him, and he still to this day teaches at an HBCU at Miles College. I mean, with the history that I have in my school, when I see all of the different, protests that happened in Birmingham, to see and to know that, Miles College students, the SGA was a part of that, to know that no matter what happened, we never shut up. We never been quiet. We never laid down and allowed anything to happen to us. It showed me that I can't be quiet. I can't, when something is wrong, I speak up. I speak up for what's right, because if you stand for nothing, you will fall for anything.
Come on. All right, Shane. Don, don't answer that question, Shane. I got a number for you. No. You tried it. You thought you were going to be like, let me show one. Nope, I got one number for you. So, Shane, what's a moment in your HBCU history from your institution that personally inspires you to continue your work?
I think it was 2011, 2012 when I became Mr. Virginia University of Lynchburg. And he had me to meet.
Wait, go back. Hold on. We know about this. When did this happen?
Oh yeah. I got.
I didn't know it was in the room with royalty.
Come on now, don't do me like that. Not tonight.
Okay, come on, mister. Come on.
Home court, baby. Home court.
I'm sorry. Wait, I'm sorry. Start all over. I apologize.
We're going to talk about it later. But 2011, 2012, when I became Mr. Virginia University of Lynchburg, I met, it was, what's his name? Cockroach in Martin, Carl Anthony Payne. He came. He did a whole skit, and then
you said cockroach. Hold on. Let's go back. Wait, you said cockroach from Cosby Show.
Yeah, it's a mistake. That's why I said Carl Anthony Payne.
All right, go ahead. Carl Anthony Payne.
That's why I had to bring it back. But no, it's Carl Anthony Payne. That's why. Yeah. Anyways, met him, and we had a brief conversation. And he said to me, it's very important for you to be in this position, right? Because if you go to any HBCU and you have home court, you're in a position of power, a position of where people can come to you and talk to you, a position of where you can, your voice can be heard. the next day, I had a meeting with the mayor of Lynchburg, Virginia. And that kind of sent me over the top to where, hey, you need to keep pushing. You need to keep fighting. You need to keep voicing. You are the voice for the students. Because for me, it was just a thing where, I'm gonna go participate in this, and I won and all that stuff. But meeting these guys the day after, and they instill certain things within me, and I'm like, I can do this. I can do this. I can, be a voice for the students, be a voice for everyone who's Black, and continue to push the narrative in Lynchburg. Y'all hear the name, right? Okay. So, because it's majority white, and you have these Black institution that's inside Lynchburg, Virginia. And for me, it was such a uplifting moment for me to continue to deal with, certain things, but also just to push the narrative. We are here to stay. We are going to keep talking. We are going to keep chirping. We are going to keep chopping one day at a time, and we're going to get some results. So, it was important for me.
So I would love to one day, not today, but maybe that's a history lesson for another day, to unpack where this city name Lynchburg. That right there just sounds traumatic for me, first of all. Listen. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, listen. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit the thumbs up button, hit that heart button. Let us know that you're enjoying the show. Leave a comment. Don't forget, if you haven't already done so, to shout out your HBCU, shout out your hometown where you're watching us from right now. Listen, we have been talking a lot about the impact of HBCUs and the scholars from these institutions that have made an impact on Black history. And one of the best ways to keep that legacy alive is by continuing to learn and engage with our history. That is why we want to highlight something that's making learning about HBCUs fun and interactive. Now, if you love Black history and want to test your knowledge, then you got to check out the HBCU trivia game. Now, this game is packed with facts about the legacy, achievements, and cultural impact of our beloved HBCUs. Now, it's the perfect way to engage, educate, and celebrate our history while having some fun. And because we appreciate our HBCU man family, we got something special for you. Now, use promo code BROWN at checkout, and you get 10% off your next order. Don't just talk about Black history, live it, learn it, and play it. Now, shout out to my good friend Maurice, who have put together this amazing trivia game. Let's check it out.
Introducing the HBCU trivia game. It's more than a board game. It's a journey to the legacy of historically Black colleges and universities. Here's how it works. 2 to 4 players, ages 13 and up, start as freshmen and roll the dice to advance. But here's the twist. You can only move forward by answering trivia questions about HBCU. Test your knowledge of notable alumni, key historical events, sports milestones, and fun HBCU facts. Watch out for spaces that can propel you ahead or set you back. And if you get a question wrong, you stay put until your next turn. The first to reach graduation wins. The HBCU trivia game. Support, educate, entertain. Available now. Let the journey begin.
So go to hbcutriviagame.net. Use the promo code BROWN. You get 10% off your order. This is a great opportunity. Listen, why not? Play the game. Get involved. Now, before we move on, let's take a moment to, let you all know. Kevin, you want to let everyone know how they can be a part of the show and maybe talk about how we can promote their products?
Well, thank you. If you would like to promote here at Historically Black Sense and the show on the page, please just reach out through our email, through our website, through our DMs. We will love to have you on the show. Any way you see a partnership, just make sure you reach out and we will go from there.
Awesome sauce, Kevin. Thank you so very much for that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time. Yes, It's time for our last segment of the show. It's now time for Habar Ghani, and that means what is the good news. And in this space, it's all about positivity. Now we've been talking about the fight, but let's take a moment to celebrate the wins. What is some good news happening in your world? So we're going to go around the room and you can share again to Coach, while you're here, this is an opportunity where you can just share anything that's happening in your world right now. If you want to talk about the book, you want to talk about stuff you're doing at work with your scholars, or anything personal or professional that you want to share with our viewing audience, and then to all of our viewers, if you want to drop something in the chat, let us know. You got a link you want to drop, especially on YouTube or Facebook, and you want us to go check out your website or something that we need to know about, let us know in the chat. So with that said, let's go with Shean. Let me put you in the spotlight.
Oh God,
I'm trying to get you in there. What you got, brother?
I don't really got anything going on this week. Well, as you guys know, I'm getting closer in graduating with my doctorate. So you already know I'm looking forward to that. I am definitely looking forward to that. Otherwise, I just, there's so much going on in this world right now. It's a lot.
Stay we on the good stuff. Stay on the positive stuff.
Right. So I want us to continue to pray for everybody so we can be good, so we can be well, so we can stay focused on what we need to do and continue to push.
Awesome sauce. All right, Coach, what's your good news? What is your Habar Ghani?
Man, I ain't lying. I've been sitting here thinking about what good news I could share. And man, last week was the start of second semester for CMS schools, and the new kids that I have, they are energetic, they're lively, they are kids to say the least. And so I think, man, they my good news. Every day I wake up and I don't even feel like I'm going to work, and no matter what negative things are going on in my life, I know I can go to the school, and even what people may consider the worst of kids can put a smile on my face. And so just continuing to walk in my purpose is my good news.
Oh, come on, walk in your purpose. I love that.
Absolutely.
Kevin, what is your Habar Ghani this week?
I had to do a lot of thinking, but after what Coach just said, really, I get to go to work tomorrow. Like, as much as I complain about me teaching, I wouldn't do it no other way. I do love the fact that I can get up in the morning and know that I'm about to go change some lives. I'm about to go teach somebody something new. I'm about to help, shape someone's future. So that's definitely good. I mean, and then if we can find a positive of out of all the crazy stuff is, I think I'm gonna get a good laugh these next 4 years. If I don't get nothing else, I'm gonna get a good laugh. Y'all, this man, yep. he declared February Black History Month. We should be so grateful. He named February Black History Month. Thank you so much, President Trump. We wouldn't know what to do without you.
Him didn't know. What about Anthony Michael Smith watching us from Columbus, Georgia? Monique Robinson representing the one, the only Wilberforce University. Come on. He said, matter of fact, this brother right here. He said he's a member of Phi Beta Sigma.
Oh, what's up, Frank?
And matter of fact, Dontavius, this is the HBCU Man Cave. This is one of your featured workshops that will be at the Community Impact Assembly in Charlotte, North Carolina.
We're in there.
All right, so let's see Mahabar Ghani this week. Listen, so last week, ladies and gentlemen, I was sharing with you all that I had to go into the hospital for a procedure. And for those who may watch me on social media, you saw me actually go live. Yes. While I was on the hospital bed, going down the hallway to the operating room. Yep, I pulled out my phone and I was like, it's your boy, it's your friend, it's your cousin. I am on location live at Metro Health Hospital on my way into surgery. Listen, so I can't say, so what they thought they saw. And I have to go back on February 11th. But the good news is, I serve a living God.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, somebody.
That's it.
That part right there. And my testimony, as I told my church members today, Lord, if you find anything that's not like you, I ask you, Lord, and you know what to do. Wash me, Lord. Cleanse me through and through. Lord, take it away from me.
There you go.
That part.
There you go.
I ain't worried.
Ain't no need to.
What tomorrow's going to bring. Come on, somebody. It'll be all over.
Come on now. Come on.
Anyway, listen. So that is the good news. I'm going to be okay.
Oh, yeah.
So listen. Listen, so that is everything that we have. Listen, yes. Someone's like, yes, he went live. Yeah, I did.
Too.
And here's the thing, fellas. It was interesting about going live in this experience. I sometimes I don't do it for me, and I'm not doing it for fame or for glory or for anything else. I think it's important to be able to let other Black men know it's okay to go to the doctor.
Yep.
It's okay to get checked up. It's okay to be able to have these physicals and these routines, because we got to. I love the fact that Kevin's like, I need a Black doctor so he can have that conversation. So, brother, go. I went live. I had a brother call me this week, actually today, and said because he saw my live, because he saw what I did, that motivated him because he was scared to go to the hospital because he had to have a surgery himself. And he was like, if Anthony can do it, so can I. Because you never know what what's going on through people's minds.
Yep.
This brother said, come on, he said, faith lived out loud. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That's what I'm going to do. So with that, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we have had a great time today having Coach Derrick Wilmore here on the show. Y'all come on, show us some love.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
Before we wrap, let's recap. I just want to make sure that, again, ladies and gentlemen, we talked about the historical impact of what HBCU students did to support and the legacy of our history, of Black history. We talked about the ongoing influence of HBCUs in leadership and activism. And we also talked about the importance of keeping the legacy alive and thriving. Now, family, listen, family, we don't just recognize Black history once a month. I love how Kevin said in his classroom, it's Black history every day, all day. And we live it every single day. We just can't go and just take this skin off. It is. We are who we are. So continue to educate yourself, support our HBCUs, honor the work of those who have paved the way before us. Before we get up out of here, much love and to our special guest today, Coach Derrick Wilmore.
Appreciate it, fellas.
Shout out before we get up out of here, bro.
Say that again.
Anything else you want to shout out before we get up out of here?
Shoot, I'm currently recruiting for Clinton College, man, cross country. If y'all got any kids that's looking for a home, tell them come holler at me. Also, I just want to say thank you once again to the fellas for inviting me out. Always a pleasure. Great conversation as always.
Awesome sauce. Kevin, Shane, anything?
Stay prayed up. Stay prayed up.
I love it. 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 So listen, ladies and gentlemen, as always, we appreciate you being here today and joining us as always. Listen, for all of those who are watching us on the replay, thank you for the replayers watching us in that. As always, I'm your boy, your uncle, your cousin, and your best friend. And thank you for joining us for another episode of the HBCU Man Cave. Shout out to Historically Black Sense. If you haven't started following us, you better. We will see. Now, this is going to be a month-long series of Black History Excellence every week. So make sure you join us next week. So we didn't talk about your HBCU today. We'll maybe get to yours next week. Until next time, y'all, I'm going to change it up just a little bit this week. Until next time, y'all stay safe, stay black, and stay making history. Peace.